All right, so I know everybody's wanted and they're eager to see the update on the little fishing boat here. Now, as you know, I have my other boat here. This is just a little 12-footer. This is little Evie. And that's a nice clean little boat. But what I've got here, now don't look at the blue. That's all going to get painted gray. Somebody painted this blue and I don't know why they did, but I'm going to change it. But as you see, I got the Eiger hooked up to the front of it to move it around. This is a deep V, and it needs a little bit of maintenance, a little bit of love, tender love and care over here at the ranch. And, you know, we're going to work on it little by little. As you see, what I did was I put the steering column in. Now, I had all these parts from last year, but as you see how that steering column area is nice and flat across the boat, they had the thing shooting upwards like this. I don't know why. It was up about 1.5 inches too high. And it's the little things like that that bother me, but I got that leveled out. I had to pull it off. And I'll show you here. I had to pull it off and cut this back a little bit so that it could come in more to lower this part down. But I got it nice and level. And I got the wheel in. I couldn't find a nut, so I had to go to Tractor Supply and get a castle nut for it that was 1/2 inch by 20 fine thread. We've got this assembly here, the linkage. This is all in. Okay, and as you see, I went along the lines here and I zip tied everything. Now, this here, somebody put this transducer in down here, and you can see they didn't do a really good job. Look at those sharp things, those screws. And then they just compensated with a little caulk. But at the end of the day, that's just not my situation. That right there is not going to be on my boat, so that's got to come off. Okay? And I do not want to be back here trying to look at something on the engine and need to go to the emergency room because my ankle's bleeding. But as you see, I got the transom put in last year. There's my tank I've had off another boat. But it's a good solid tank. It's got a gas gauge on it. I just need to change the fuel supply line out of it and change it to a Mercury. But there you go. Here's the cables. I got them going in. Now back here on this engine, there was a little latch that wasn't working right. As you see, I got that working just fine. We'll set this out of the way. But over here, I turned around and got all this hooked up and checked it all. Okay, these are the pieces I built because the boatyard still hasn't called me back. Go figure. But I know that's not a big money item for them, but you know, who knows? They don't know me from a bag of beans. I could have wanted to buy a boat from them. But maybe they do know me. Maybe they know that I'm not going to buy a boat from them. I'm a fixer-up kind of guy. I like to restore things and fix things to their former state of glory, you know. But anyway, I got this line put in. And what I did was once I did the connection, I put some tape around it. And then you see there's a little collet down here that has a little bend back on it. I put a little zip tie around it so this is nice and stationary. It ain't going nowhere. And then, of course, when we come out of the engine, I've made a transit loop down here. Okay, there's a transit loop there. So when the engine turns, you see, everything's mobile. Now, the only thing I got to do is I got to get a Z-bar here that goes from here over a 1-footer over to here. And this way, when the steering wheel turns, it turns your engine for you. This is your connection for your starter and your automatic start. I just got to get a battery, okay? And the battery pack's going to go down here next to the leads, okay? And, I mean, that's what I've got so far. And the other thing I did is I put some stainless steel eyelets in, okay? And then the situation there is what I did. Let me move this ladder. Is I put some rubber washers with metal rubber washers behind it, so it's nice and sturdy. But that's kind of, not that your water's going to get up that high. But then what I did is I put a lock washer. Those are stainless. all the hardware, and then except the washers, they're galvanized. But this way here, you don't catch your arm or your shirt on that, because with this other boat, Little Evie, I turn around and I think I caught my coat on it or my shirt a couple times, so same thing, I cut them off. But the way that works is I got to put a cleat up on my other boat, but this is a cleat here on Little Evie. And you see what happens here, right? When you drop your anchor, now here's a cute little outfit here. When you drop your anchor, you let her roll and it goes out of here, and then when you stop, see how that does? That locks down on it so it can't go any further. That's a pretty good little deal. I had one on there, it was a really old one, and then this situation on the old one, the wheel was broke. So what I did was, I was looking online. There's a lot you can learn online. And here's my 15-pound anchor. And instead of, a lot of the years I used to have, all the years I used to have either boats, I would just throw the line out with the anchor. And I was totally fine with that. But I wondered why sometimes it would pull up and sometimes it would hook better. But there's a guy online. He says that you're supposed to have it so this can swivel on here. Okay. And then he said also to put a 5 foot, put a 5 foot or so, which I don't have 5 feet. There's maybe 3 feet there. He said put let me get some of this slack here. Okay. So when that anchor tips, you see that? See what happens? The chain kind of holds it to the bottom a little better. And that's how it digs in. That's the scenario right there. It would dig in. And where I'm at, there's a lot of sand, so that'll work good. But that's the little setup I have. Now those are stainless, those clevises, or the little tie backs. I'm not sure exactly what you call that, but those are tight. That's just an old piece of chain. It's a good chain. It's an old chain. It's my chain. It's had a lot of years. A lot of people would just throw that in a scrap and say, ah, that's an old chain. What are we going to do with an old chain like that? But I like to, like I said, I'm a guy who likes to take things that are old and find a purpose for them in life. I mean, if there's absolutely no reason for it, I have no problem taking it to the scrapyard and getting 200 a ton right now. But look at that, huh? You don't need a whole lot of strength on there, but that makes sense what the guy was saying. That you leave the bit of chain on there and it kind of lays on the bottom better. So as it's pulling up, see what it does? It kind of lets the chain, as you're tugging on it, it lets the chain dig the anchor down in. But that's that deal. And then look at this. I want to show you this. Watch. Watch. See what that does? It scissors it and stops it from going any further. That's going to be a real handy setup. I seen that on this boat when I got it. And I said, that's really cool. That's a good idea. But as you see, Little Abby, she's clean. I mean, there's no leaks in this boat. There's no leaks. And this is an old, well, I'm talking early 80s can, but it's completely rust-free. You can tell. Look at the seams. This guy had this stored inside. I mean, look at the shape of that can. Inside's just as clean. It's 2-stroke oil, so. But the situation is here. We're going to go ahead and get these out on the water, and we are going to do some live action out on the lake. And we want to bring it to you live action. We want to bring it to you where it's like you're right with us, you know. And I'm going to put these boats out there, and we're going to do a test on both of them. I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep this one here. This is the one here I believe I'm going to keep. I want to go ahead and I've got to shop vac this all out, and then I got to go ahead and just rough this up a little bit, and then I'm going to come in here with some gunmetal gray, and we're going to get this back to a more presentable color. Not that the color is going to make it run any better or worse, but for me, I kind of like things like that are a little more color coded, you know, for the situation. And you know, we got to get our life preservers and all that and get them stowed in there. But up front here, I'll show you what I'm going to do. I think what I want to do, you see this little valley right here? I'm going to build a triangle piece out of here. And what I'm going to do is leave it back about 2 inches. So I can set this down, slide it back, it'll drop in the groove, then go forward with it. And then put another one on top to screw a board on top of it where it can't come back. And 3/4 board will span that where it's a little flat platform. And I can go ahead and put some gear up here. I can put a cooler up here a little easier. And it'll help keep some of the weight up here. So when it planes out, you know. But yeah, I mean, that's the situation with this. I mean, it's an old boat. It's an 80s boat. But take a look at that column. I made that out of a 2x6. And what I did is the 2x6, I have several 2x6s as you see. These ones are nice and straight. This one had a little bit of a curve to it. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Look at that. Well, guess which one I used? I used this one here. And you're probably asking, well, how did you get that so flat? What I did, guys, is you see this here? I use something, it's called a hand planer. Okay? You take the tops off the center. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, when you have a board that's got a little curve to it like that, what you do is you come off the center here, right? Now, obviously, you hold it in something stationary. You take this here and you just go right down it. You take the center off until this is all flat. And then the back side, you're going to have high points here. You just spin it around and you do these high spots. And you wind up with a little bit thinner of a board, but it's nice and flat. Like, I don't think that board's going to curve anymore. So if you can get that out, right, you just trim this out until this is nice and flat across, then get these edges off. That's how you get a curved board nice and flat. So, and then here's another side note. If you do have one of these, never lay it down on its face, because that's where the blade is, right? And you don't want to get that all bent up. You lay it like that. But I think I picked that up at a garage sale somewhere years ago. But there's the Mercury XD, 18 horse. I believe this thing will hold up to a 35 horse, the data tag says. And it's a SmokerCraft. I mean, it's a nice little boat. The trailer's really nice. It's got good wheels. The bearings look good. The tread is nice. It's not dry rotted. We got our prop over at the Brewerton Boatyard in Cicero, New York. Or actually Brewerton. And there were some dings and some chips out of it. I had sent it in. There's a guy that repairs them. So the situation is there. As soon as that gets back, we'll be able to take this baby on a maiden voyage. And, I mean, don't let the faded paint and stuff fool you. This little motor, go back a video or two ago and take a look at how nice and smooth that ran. So this one here, I'm hoping we can get out here and get some of these perch on a couple of my days off or whatever. And there's my little graph hook there. That's for hooking the docks, or when you're coming in, you can slow yourself down or whatever. And, you know, that's a must. Let me tell you, that is a must to have one of those. It is a must. And I know everybody says, oh, the plastic ends, they break, but I'll be honest with you, that's got to be 15 years old. And I've used it quite a bit when I had a big fiberglass boat. And I pushed off and grabbed things, and it's really not. And I'll tell you what, if it breaks, if that breaks right there, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build one out of aluminum. I will build one I'll go in there and I'll forge it and I'll put it in there, and that won't break. But either way, they're about 35 bucks, 40 bucks, and they're good to have. I think I only paid 19 for that years ago. But here's another look. Look how flat this board is. There's no curve to that now. You know, she's nice. I put it in with some good stainless screws that have washers built into them. And you know, the situation is, it's not a brand new boat. You know, this is not a brand new boat. This is an old boat. But you know, I got this on a deal. And the situation with that is you don't always need a brand new boat, okay? You don't need a brand new anything. If you've got something and you get out there, like this situation here, I'm out on the water and I'm having fun and it's safe and it's been all gone through. I mean, okay, so it's not brand new. I'm doing the same thing someone else is out there doing with a brand new setup, you know, and way less price tag. But hey, I don't mind being out there with some old equipment, especially I know I maintain my stuff. So, but that's the deal. I'm gonna give you, that's the update on the SmokerCraft. As you see, it's a genuine SmokerCraft. This ain't just a makeshift one. This is a real McCoy here. This is the real McCoy. This is the real John Wayne here. But that's the deal. These are like these plastic pieces here. These are really hard plastic, like almost like a phenolic, I guess. But they came in handy for running these cords. I actually took this one out because it was kind of interfering, you know, a little bit. So I got that where I'd rather have these lay properly than to have that in a spot where it's all kinked. But yeah, that's the deal. And underneath, I mean, I don't know if you want to see underneath the steering column, but this is what we got here. Okay. There's a steering piece. And that little whip right there is where the excess cable goes in. Okay. And that's how it goes in. I've got it all mounted and it's all secured. And we'll be going across the lake on this thing, and hopefully we'll be catching some perch and some walleye, some crappie, and maybe some sunnies and some gillies. But that's the deal. And we hope to see you in a future video, and we're going to get some live action. Oh, here's the other thing. When you run these cords back here, once you have your clearances and stuff, make sure you take the excess cable and you make a transit loop with it. Don't just leave it laying in the bottom of your boat where everybody's tripping on it. And it just looks more presentable. The other thing I want to order for this is a bimini top, and we're going to get that measured up. And we're going to have a bimini top on here too, so when we get on the water, we'll be able to keep the sun off us. But that's right. That's how we're going to get her going, and we hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions on the SmokerCraft or Little Evie, I mean, let's not forget about Little Evie. If you've got a question on that boat, I mean, that's a nice little boat. It may even be up for sale. I don't know. I want to see how this one runs, and we'll go from there. But if you're interested, you know, holler at your boy, and we'll see what we can do. We can make a deal. If not, I know a guy that'll make a deal for us. He's the best deal maker on this side of the Mississippi. So, but all right, this is Bry. I'm out, and you've seen what the SmokerCraft has to offer. So, I'll see you on the water.